Well, it's a big hi and a huge hello from me, Col.
And this is Mark with an even bigger hi and a hello with the icing on top, so there. And I'm also funnier and handsomer and known for my dazzling wit and repartee.
Not this again.
Oh, well, you started it.
Well, can we just agree that before we have another food fight and waste several worthwhile cheesecakes, that everyone should be up for listening to another great, grand, wondrous, exciting, tantalising, waterproof episode of the Beatleplaces with Mark and Col.
Oh, well, I can't disagree with that. Yes, excellent.
See, good. That's the way I like it.
Fine, well, let's get going and let's get started.
Well, I couldn't agree more, Mr. Maestro.
That's me.
So get your glockenspiel plugged in.
Ooh.
And play that funky theme tune. Post haste.
Right. Are you 13 amp? Right then, welcome everybody, one and all, to Beatleplaces with Mark and Col. I'm Mark, and on the other side of the divide is Colin. Now stop clapping your feet.
Well, keep them cool.
Well, don't do it in here, especially if you haven't got socks on. Yes, this is the 300 millionth episode of Beatleplaces.
Yeah, I'm not counting anymore. I've lost count.
And we're up to letter M or M.
Yeah, M for marshmallows and
Yes.
muck. And
Mark.
Mirth and Mark, yeah, and I don't know, look it up.
Ah.
Yeah, there's a thing called a dictionary. Fill your boots.
So that's what we're going to talk about this time. All sort of things M and the odd letter otherwise here and there as well.
But essentially everything M, Beatles. Yeah, so we're going to talk things through the Beatles and Liverpool, Merseyside, where we're from, and it's got an M in it. Well, not sort of M in it. It begins with an M-ish. Amish, aren't they people who don't believe in electricity or something in America? Oh, that's the Amish. Sorry, I'm in a silly-ish mood. It must be having no socks on.
Write a letter of embarrassment.
Oh, see, letter of complaint to myself.
That's it. Right then.
Dear sir, rotten show. Yours sincerely, me.
Get off. Right. Should I say Michelle? Then.
Well,
that's a good letter to start with.
That's a grand, because it really is an M, isn't it?
It is. Paul wrote it mainly. Paul had the basic chord pattern for Michelle several years before he turned it into a complete song. Inspired by Chet Atkins, it was.
What?
Instrumental called Trombone. It started as a French ballad in imitation of a student who had performed such a song at a party he was out in Liverpool when... with John Lennon's art school teachers.
Well, that would have been up a Beatle place called Huskisson Street. Huskisson Street.
Somewhere around about 1959, 1960, something like that.
That's exactly the place at the time.
It didn't have any real lyrics to start with. Paul merely sort of mouthed nonsense stuff that sounded French, sort of this, that, and the other.
Why do we always? It sounds a bit wrong, doesn't it, to do it like. Oh, are you French?
John remembered it a few years later in the rush to find some ideas for Rubber Soul and suggested that Paul complete it. So looking for some genuine French words to go in the song, he sought the help of their friend Ivan Vaughan and his wife.
It was, yeah.
Who taught French in school. He asked her to think of a French girl's name and two French words that would match. So Paul's suggestion conjured up the second line, for which Jan Vaughan also provided the translation. She provided diction lessons for Paul, and he sent her a royalty check for doing it. The same attention to detail was matched in the music. There was something of a high pitch of Edith Piaf in Paul's voice, while the guitar for the solo has had its tone switched to full-on bass, so it matches the broader tone of an accordion. So it's quite a rich song, really. The middle section is repeated with I Love You, refrain from John's input. He'd heard Nina Simone improvise the same line on her version of I Put a Spell on You.
Yeah.
So that's it, really. Michelle ma belle. These are words that go together well.
And again, not a single. Never intentionally a single. Not a UK single. Which is always the thing about the Beatles' output. when you measure up and you think that's a great song, super song, real famous song.
A single, that one, but
all singles, but they only released 17 or 18.
Yeah.
In the sort of Beatle lifetime, which always surprises the socks off me. Talking of socks again.
not going that again, are you?
Cheers, Mark. That was an interesting one.
It's a start, isn't it? It's a start.
It's one of my favourite Beatle people to mention when we do get a chance to mention it, which is Ivan Vaughan. I like Ivan Vaughan. Very interesting fella. Can I do an M, please, Mr. Sir?
If you must, yeah, go on, off you go.
Mackett's Lane.
Ooh.
We've been.
Funnily enough,
Yeah.
I was driving down there on Saturday.
Oh, because you had this do to go to, didn't you?
To go to, and I went down Mackett's Lane on Saturday.
Yeah, well, Mackett's Lane is a bit of, I'd say you hardly notice Mackett's Lane. It's just like it looks like a million other places around that.
Ordinary housing estate.
Yeah, and it's sort of bordering Woolton, where John's from, with Hunts Cross, which is on the way to. And it's the Harrisons, they live there. They moved there from their council location in Upton Green, which is based in a place called Speke, spelt Speke.
And I went near there as well.
Oh, where you now?
On the way back.
So
We went that way.
So this address, Mackett's Lane, is really in Hunts Cross. It sounds ever so posh. It did to me as a little kid. I thought Hunts Cross, that sounds very fancy and whatever. But it's just an ordinary place, So, but in 1962, the Harrisons moved there. Kind of a late one. But George, I think, as far as I can tell, he had the most house moves compared to any Beatle. John moved from Newcastle Road up to Mendips. Paul moved, I think Paul probably did move a few times more than Ringo certainly did, who moved twice. And George moved upwards of 2 to 3 times because he was all over the place. But Mackett's Lane, there he was, 1962. Fans always, at that time, of course, fans were everywhere, so they camped outside the house when this fan mail was delivered. And the Harrisons were fairly nice to everybody. It seems to me that I get the impression that George's family were nice people. They're always very accommodating. They always give a cup of tea to screaming fans. And some of them were even allowed to do the laundry and the washing up and make the beds and stuff like that. Well, that's what fans want to do. So it was after there that George said, we're not living here anymore, or me mum and dad aren't. So they moved out to Appleton in Warrington Way, which is, according to the Harrison family tree, they were in Appleton once upon a time, but many, many families ago. And they just so by accident, almost coincidentally, they went back there in 64 or 65 more so. So George, whenever he came home as a Beatle from 64, 65 onwards, he headed for Appleton. In a later date, much later, 69, 70, he was in a place called Clatterbridge in the Wirral because his mother took very ill and the hospital there looked after him and George came to visit. So Mackett's Lane is famous as it is. I took a picture of it, but it doesn't look like it's got, anything feature-wise about it. It's just kind of like a ordinary council house, very ordinary. And that's the nature of George as well. He was a kind of a nice, ordinary fellow who happened to be extraordinary at what he did. So, right. Mackett's Lane.
There you go. I'm going to mention something now that's quite controversial when they first got it. The MBE. That begins with M. You can't get much more than that at the MBE.
Yeah, I wouldn't question that. Or my English teacher would.
Aye, they got the MBE from the Queen, obviously, and a few little quotes here. Ringo says, I went up and the Queen said to me, you started the group, did you? And I said, no, I was the last one to join. And then she asked, well, how long have you been together as a band? And without the blink of an eye, Paul and I said, we've been together now for 40 years.
Oh, yes, but
and it don't seem a day too much.
Yeah, like the song.
So she had this strange, quizzical look on her face, like either she wanted to laugh or she was thinking, off with their heads. I'm not sure if we had a joint or not. It's such a strange place to be anyway. Ringo said.
I read, I think it was today even, that Ringo said about the MBE, he called it a badge.
Yeah.
Not a medal or a point of honour.
Ringo also said when they gave us the MBE, they gave us a certificate and also a little note to say that you can't wear this one in public.
Oh.
But you can buy a dress MBE if you want to go out with, and buy in your bow tie, you can
I
wear a
see.
pretend
So,
one.
versions of.
Which I thought was really strange, Ringo said. I never did wear it going out, but you'd have thought they'd have thrown in the little one as well, just for going out. I wondered whether Brian minded not getting the MBE, but he was always happy with what we got. Really, I suppose if he'd gone, he'd have been going for a knighthood.
Well, he is now. Now, don't forget, Ringo, just week before last week, he got his doctorate from Liverpool Uni. There was a picture of him in the press, based out, I think he was in LA or somewhere, wherever he is in America, receiving his doctorate because he was an honorary doctor, Dr. Ringo Starr. But he's also Sir Ringo Starr. So the trouble is, I gave his number a ring and said, you couldn't see me about this sore toe I've got. But he said, I don't do those kind of things.
Oh.
So he was very polite about it. But he's a Dr. Sir Ringo Starr now.
Right.
Non-medical, I believe.
Yeah.
Non-medical.
Yeah.
But that's what we find out, isn't it? So more Beatle news in a bit. So more to come.
Paul said also about the MBEs, there was only one fella who said, I want your autograph for my daughter. I don't know what she sees in you. Most other people were pleased about us getting the award. There were one or two old blokes from the RAF who felt it had slightly devalued their MBEs, these longer twits getting one. But most people seemed to feel that we were a great export and ambassadors for Britain. At least people were taking notice of Britain. Cars like Minis and Jaguars and British clothes were selling. Mary Quant and all the other fashions were selling. And in some ways, we became super salesmen for Britain. And George said, after all we did for Great Britain, selling all that corduroy and making it swing, they give us that bloody old leather metal with wooden string through it. But my initial reaction was, oh, how nice, how nice. And John's was, how nice, how nice. That was it, really. I brought it home and put it in the drawer, Jules said. And then later on, I wore it on the Sgt. Pepper album cover sleeve. So if you want to see a proper MBE, have a look at Sgt. Pepper's cover, and you'll see George wearing his MBE.
Yeah, well, I'm being saying quite nice at the same time. Quite nice.
Oh, quite nice.
It's true. I mean, they were sort of bestowed upon in several ways. They were given lots of pats on the back and that. But I put a thing on Instagram the other week about the conferment of all four Beatles were given the Freedom of Liverpool in 1984-ish. And I found the brochure for it and I put it on my Instagram account. And it was after much reluctance. They should have done it in 1965, whatever it was, but the council thought they were long-haired yobbos and left it at that. And the council were really, strict about, we're not doing this for them. What have they done for us? What have the Romans ever done for us?
And then they go and knock down the cavern as well.
And they knock down the blooming cavern, so it gets a little bit silly after that. But things are getting better.
All the money they could have made from it.
Yeah, all that corduroy.
All that corduroy.
So who's moaning at you? It's Mark and Col, and we're doing Beatleplaces Podcast with Mark and Col. Pleased to meet yous.
Tell you what, play that. Press that button.
This big fat blue one.
That one. Go on. Giving unemployed, good-looking, tall, handsome, well-groomed voiceover artists a bit of part-time work. It's the Beatleplaces Podcast with Mark and Col.
Is that all right?
Yeah, it's fine. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next.
Oh, that was good.
Do you think so? It needs a cello, maybe cello, umpire band behind it.
Tuba.
Tuba. Yeah, I couldn't think of the word. Yeah.
Tuba smart.
More tubas, somebody said in an email the other day. We want more tubas.
Ah, right.
What you got?
Well, I was going to say, remember, do a little quiz called The Track Before?
Oh.
Well, we're not having that. But remember, the track after.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm not having that either.
Oh, thank God.
Instead, some lyrics for you.
Oh, bloody.
Where are these songs from? All right. I'll give you one now, and another one later, and another one.
Doesn't take the pain away, though, does it, Mark?
Well, have rub some cream on your feet, and you'll feel better. Right. Here's a dead easy one. Well, we all shine on like moon. Oh, start again.
Please,
Start again.
yeah.
Wind back a bit. Yeah.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the show.
Goodbye. Well, we all shine on like the moon and the stars and the sun. What song is that from?
It's a John Lennon solo record.
Aye.
And it's obvious now you say it. It's not
Should
instant.
I do it more in the rhythm of the song?
I know the song.
Just to give other people who don't made it, what's that from? Well, we all shine on like the moon and the stars and the sun. All right.
I know it.
Apart from doing the music,
I know. He did a great version on a show called Top of the Pops, a UK music show called Top of the Pops, and he sang it. His hair had just been cut. He looked really rough and ready. He sang it live, which is rare on that show. And Yoko's in the background, sat on a stool, and she's knitting. She's
sitting on a cornflake.
She's knitting. I think Mal Evans is in there too as well. So
He's waiting for the van to come.
He was waiting for the van to come, and Klaus Vorman, as always, in the background.
Tell you what then, it's instant karma, in case you didn't know what it was.
I knew the answer. I just
we all
wanted to.
shine on like the moon and the stars and the sun. Instant karma.
Written, recorded, yada yada, in a day.
Aye.
I'm told, we're told. But it might have been a week.
The same chords as All You Need Is Love.
Is it?
It is. Apparently so. According to one of my many books down here. I must say thank you to all the people who supply the books and things where we get our information from, apart from Colin's own book, which he gets...
It's available in most remainder bins.
Yeah.
At your nearest...
I keep mine in the recycling bin.
Near recycling centres.
Beatles anthology, there's the Beatles, a diary...
Yeah, there's a few. The Beatles family
Beatles,
tree.
Long and Winding Road. There's the Beatles Liverpool by Ron Jones.
Well, we talked about the one you recommended to me, which I fully read, which was 1, 2, 3, wasn't it?
Yes, it's very good.
That was a good old little book. That it was full of stuff, and some of it was a bit mad, but I enjoyed it. Some of it I enjoyed.
A bit different from a normal.
Yeah,
sort of
properly different. I mean, not sort of
biography.
Scant. And very basic.
It went off on a tangent a bit, which is good.
You know, and we know, everybody, that this podcast is all about the Beatles' formative time in Liverpool as much as possible. And we do like to go off on tangents, and we can't help ourselves having a yab. I tell you something interesting, Mark. You know, I've got this Instagram account where I just post pictures of Beatleplaces.
Aye.
Guess who's become a follower? Have a guess.
Boris Johnson?
Oh, God, no.
Michael Parkinson.
Well, I'll give you a clue. It's
not Donald Trump.
A seat of learning.
Oh, a seat of learning.
A seat of learning.
Oxford University.
Go higher. Well, maybe go
Oxford University.
No.
Shall I stand up then?
No, it's all right. Yeah, we'd hardly notice.
Yale.
Harvard University. Harvard University, Beatle Appreciation Society, have said, we like your stuff, so they've joined my club.
Super. Hello, everybody there.
Well, they pointed out on their Instagram page that they got a few little Harvard connections with Paul, because Paul's in-laws, the Eastmans, the father and one of the sons, went to Harvard.
Oh.
Harvard. And John also performed in Harvard somehow or other. In some time or other, I would say late 60s, maybe early 70s. But that's their connection, and they had 3 or 4 pictures. But I'm sure they've got more in store.
Probably have.
Yeah. That was interesting though, because I'm thinking, what good am I? I'm just a pleb from Liverpool. So, what does it matter to me that these highly educated people are interested in something like this? But they are.
I'm glad they're enjoying it and tagging along.
If they can understand the way we talk,
yeah,
that's a hurdle, to accomplish.
I love your accent.
And the way we talk, the nonsense we say, and the jokes we make, because that's all they are really, just jokes. Mostly
talking rubbish mainly.
Mostly, yeah. To be honest, 90% rubbish, 10% sweat.
Biggest load of cobblers I've ever heard in all my life. Next.
M is for music. and musical equipment.
Oh, nice.
So I was going to tell Mark a few things, that I'm going to do some more individual podcasts soon, because I can do what's called a mini podcast, something that lasts 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And I'm going to release some things. I've got to record them first. But I'm going to do one about the Beatles and Scotland. Because as much as you may be surprised by this, there's not much in the way of a Scottish connection with any of the Beatles. Not many relatives, not many things they did until they became famous, that is. They toured Scotland in 1960, and then they did a few more things. But John is the one who had a bit of a background in Scotland, and surprisingly, George had been to Scotland as a little kid as well. So I'll be revealing all about that in a story called The Beatles in Scotland. 10-minute story, but we'll see how that pans out. And as well as that, I've done for all you little listeners who like to visit Liverpool annually or occasionally, or haven't thought about it yet, but they're going to. And I've done a walking guide, which is about 3-4 miles long, and it starts, Mark will know where I'm on about, starts up at Lime Street,
Aye.
goes up to the uni, comes down from the uni, down Bold Street, through the shops, through the business district, and up to the River Mersey. Not into the River Mersey, because I'd have to pay for life jackets and things like that. So,
And you get your socks wet.
but you will get your socks wet. That should be it's like going to SeaWorld. You will get wet. Sorry, I was going sideways. So I did a little feature as well, and I thought better of it. I thought I could just talk about it, which is M for music, musical instruments, musical equipment, music lessons. Because the Beatles are musicians, right enough. Who taught them? That was my question. So I looked into it, because I've got stuff in the Beatleplaces source book I wrote. And I dug a little deeper and found a little bit more for you. So all I can remember is with John, he got a few lessons from a fella in a place we've already mentioned in the show tonight, Hunts Cross. And try as I might, I couldn't find the advert in the local press of its time, about 1956, 57, when skiffle was sort of in the air. I couldn't get the guy who was teaching lessons to kids at the time, but John and his mate went to the guy. Paul had piano lessons from two people, a fella called Leonard Milne, and he lived on the main drag outside Allerton. Mark will know where I mean, Mather Ave.
Right.
So he lived on Mather Ave. Nice house, still there. But I think the one that's more memorable is he was given piano lessons off a lady who lived two streets away in a place called Green Hill Road. And the lady was called Blanche Wass. So I'll spell her, W-A-S-S. Blanche Wass. And it was just merely mentioned in one of Paul's biographies, autobiographies, whatever they're called. And she was a qualified music teacher. I found her details that way. And what Paul says is, I was taught by a lady who lived nearby, but she smelt a bit. So that's the way he described her.
Oh, well.
With George, he had a bit of a mixture, because he was taught with his mate, Arthur Kelly, I think it was, and they went to a pub in Wavertree called the Botanic, which was also nicknamed the Cat as a pub, local pub. Some pubs are like that. And George and his mate were taught upstairs by a fella, name unknown, and I believe he was African or half-caste. And on that occasion, George was taught sevenths. I know what sevenths are. Do you know what sevenths are, Mark? Sevenths.
Oh, chord sequences.
Chords, yeah. It's another way of doing a chord. So when you listen to a lot of Beatle records, loads of sevenths in there. So obviously learned something from this fella. There was also Len Houghton, who happened to be an old shipmate of George's dad on the old ships that he used to work at. And he lived just 200 metres from George, and he gave him guitar lessons as well. So there we go. Somebody taught George twice. With Ringo, it's a bit mixed up as well, because Ringo did get 3 official lessons from a fellow called Mr. Walsh. And I think this Mr. Walsh was a teacher of music, in quotes, who lived in Upper Parliament Street. But Ringo, of course, lessons have to be paid for. Learn the dots, "Oh, not for me," and that's when he walked. As a little kid, when Ringo was ill, little Richard was ill, little Richie Starkey was ill, and he had pleurisy and everything else he seemed to be going on, and he was based in Heswell in the Wirral. He was recovering there. There was a lady who gave him music lessons there by giving him the percussion, the drums and things to play with whenever they did music therapy, because the kids were there for years, 2-3 years getting better.
He was there for about 3 years, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, and now there's nothing of the place. It's just a big Tesco supermarket. Now, but a lady called Vera Wentworth, who came from Bebbington on the Wirral, and she was a music therapist, and she was the lady responsible for encouraging Ringo to play the drums. Other people around who were sort of musicians and provided musician support was Jim Gressie, as we've talked about before, who was the salesman in Hessie's guitar shop. There was a fella who you might see in a picture or two of the Beatles, Bob Hobbs. There's a name you can't say after 5 pints. And he operated from Rodney Street, and he gave like what I would call mass guitar lessons. And he also was a salesman in Rushworth and Drapers, and he sold guitars like Jim Gressie did, except he was like the rivals across the road, so to speak. But in terms of even Pete Best, he bought his drums from a fella called Thomas Swift, who lived up in Anfield Way, but he worked in Rushworth and Drapers, like a lot of people did. And there was also a lovely name, Ken Stabb, with 2 B's, and he ran the piano department. So in terms of what musicians in Merseyside did, they just plagued these places, the Rushworth and Drapers, Hessie's, and a bunch of other local music stores. There was at least a dozen around the area at the time of Merseybeat. And lo and behold, they were the people providing little lessons on the side, helping people begin to play guitars, because it just meant they could sell more instruments. So, a little bit about musical lessons and so forth. What do you think?
Excellent, very good. 1, 2. There you
Buckle
go.
my shoe.
Aye, that's it. Very good. You're listening to Beatleplaces with Mark and Col on a wonderful Monday evening in the middle of July.
Oh.
And it's not quite as hot as it has been.
Could have been hotter.
Which is a relief.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about a song called Martha My Dear, written by McCartney. A prototype of the bouncy melody that characterised many of Paul's songs with Wings, this is the first Beatles track to fully capitalise on the potential of 8-track recording. Recorded at the album's close, each instrument is given a clarity that will provide an indication of the sound of Abbey Road. Written on guitar in India, the song had the original title Silly Girl, which is in the lyrics of the song anyway.
Yeah, you hear it, yeah.
It was recorded some 6 months later, suggesting that significant rewriting must have taken place in between, and the new words presumably had little relevance, as Martha was also the name of Paul's sheepdog. So whether it was about the sheepdog or not, I don't know. Who knows? Some people say it was, some people say it wasn't. Anyway, that's a little thing about Martha. And I'd just like to say thank you, David Rowley, the Beatles for Sale book, for providing that information.
Well, some of it we provided, you know.
Some of it,
some of it.
So thank you very much. And
We can't help it.
yeah, we have to say thank you every now and then.
We got loads more M's as songs. We'll give you a rundown list towards the end of the show. We'll mention all the songs that have got an M to begin with in the Beatles repertoire. They're canon. And there's one song which I can mention, and it's full of M's. Mean Mr. Mustard.
Oh, very good, yeah.
Yeah,
Loads of M's in there.
Yeah, it's a good old little song, but there was really a Mr. Mustard, and maybe it came up in conversation, but it was Elvis Costello's next door neighbour. When Elvis lived in Liverpool with his mum coming from Liverpool, his dad coming from a place called Birkenhead. His mum originally lived in this place just off Smithtown Road, and I can't remember the name of the road, to be honest, but there was a Mr. Mustard living next door. Oh. So when Elvis and Paul McCartney were sort of working together, composing songs like Veronica and My Brave Face and a few things like that, maybe Elvis brought that topic up because they had a connection. But, interesting.
You never know.
I thought, there can't be a mustard, but there bloody was.
Hot stuff.
There was a name as such.
At the other side of Mr. Coleman, I suppose. Right. Here's another lyric for you to have another little go at.
I'll get a quiz together for you. I'll make you suffer.
All right, okay then. As he gets a great big book out of...
The big fat puzzling...
Called Horrible Questions
How to Hit Your Friends.
Yeah. Here's this lyric. Tell me which song it comes from. Since you left me, I'm so alone. Now you're coming home. All right. Since you left me, I'm so alone. Now you're coming home. It's there, you know what it is.
It's a 63, 64 song. It's a John song. Let me sing the whole thing.
Oh no!
Let me just get me paper and comb out.
I'll go out while you do that.
Wait. It's called Wait.
No, it isn't.
It is called Wait.
It could be.
Well, let me ring my lawyers.
Since you left me, I'm so alone. Now you're coming home.
I'll be good just like I know I should.
It's not Wait.
Is it not Wait? It sounds like Wait.
No.
Can we not make it Wait and just save us 25 minutes of waiting?
No. Come back to that. Tell me something else.
Yeah, I sure will.
I'll keep you in limbo.
I'll make your eyes cross with this.
Right,
Random Beatles quiz questions.
Okay.
Are you all poised and ready? You're lucky.
Poised.
Your legs are crossed.
Yep.
Right, just a few of them. I'll give you 5, and we'll answer them on the spot.
Right.
So I'll give you a little pause for some sort of jeopardy and some drama.
We play some music.
Some
heartbeat going.
Yeah. Me. Get ready.
Bum, 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 bum.
1. I can't be serious if you're not being serious.
Oh.
Well, here we go. Number 1. What is the middle name of John's Uncle George Smith?
Arthur.
Good guess.
No, don't know. Can't remember.
Too Good.
Oh.
Too Good. On his graves.
Yes.
Arthur, George Too Good Smith. So I did a whole potted history of the Too Good Smiths who lived in Woolton, because there was only a little village, and the village wasn't called Woolton then, it was called Much Woolton. And his family had been there for the longest time, and they were all cow herders and cow dealers and cow makers and whatever you do with cows. And he was there in the village, and he was and he
that was
also
his middle name, Too Good.
Yeah, Too Good, and the Too Good's from a lady called Too Good, and she ran let's say an illegal beer house in Woolton.
Right. Nothing to do with...
She got into trouble for it.
Nothing to do with Arthur Jackson then?
No, that's Two Sheds.
Ah, right,
yeah,
Arthur
Two Sheds
Jackson.
Yeah, and long live Monty Python.
Thank you very much.
Question 2, without much diversion.
All right.
Sour Milk Sea, as in milk. Sour Milk Sea was written by George and recorded by whom? Would it help to say I've met him?
No.
Would it help to say I know his daughter and I worked with her for a while? Hiya, Vic, if you're listening.
Can't remember his first name.
How's everything, Vic? Is everything okay? Okay, super.
Give me the first letter of his first name.
J. He was kind of a big deal. You know, he was famous himself.
It's gone. I can't
and
remember.
Then George kind of said, "I'll look after you," because he was a kind of a major star. He had a great singing voice.
Yeah.
Jackie Lomax. Jackie Lomax. The version
on the tip of my tongue it was.
We could talk about tongues, couldn't we? Jackie Lomax sang a great version of it, but if you go onto YouTube, they've done a George version of Sour Milk Sea. It's all been pumped up.
Right.
But here's the thing: if you listen to that very song, who's on it? Paul, Ringo, George, and Eric Clapton.
I was just going to say Eric Clapton.
Eric Clapton was on that very song.
That's what I was going to say first, and then thought, no, it's not.
Yeah,
I couldn't think of his name.
Jackie Lomax is sadly gone now, but you know, a nice fella, and he was up previously in a band called the Undertakers, but he had such a fantastic singing voice. He had to do his own thing, and he did that.
Anyway,
question 3.
No, did I tell you the name of the song, by the way?
Sour Milk Sea.
No. Since you left me, I'm so alone.
We go. Oh, right, we're winding back.
You're coming home. It won't be long.
Oh, of course.
It won't be long. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, now you mention it. Yeah.
Sorry, anybody who thought, we've gone off on a tangent. He hasn't given me the answer to that.
Yeah. let me write to my MP.
Oh, once Col starts...
once
talking,
I'm off.
You can't shut him up.
Yes, thanks for that recommendation.
Anyway.
Question 3, as he boldly goes.
Next.
Where did the Beatles live on their last... Oh, I'll tell you, that's not an easy one for the likes of you.
How dare you.
Name the bouncer at the Cavern.
Oh, that's gone now as well.
He had a side job. He lived up Beaconsfield Road.
And a big sideys.
Had big sideys on him, and he always wore a cummerband when he was at the door of the Cavern. In spite of it being the Cavern, he was dressed for a ballroom.
Yeah.
He helped with Mersey Beat. He distributed Mersey Beat, so he had another job as well. He wasn't just a bouncer there. Paddy Delaney. Paddy Delaney.
And his donkey.
By all accounts, a nice fella. The donkey, don't know anything about really. Maybe Mark knows more than I do. Final question, just to help Mark out and give him a break. And then we can go to a jingle.
Ooh.
Name the actual barbers sung about in Penny Lane.
You've got me again now. It's an Italian name.
It is.
Barba.
No, that's Hungarian. You're quoting pure Hungarian there. I put that through Google Translate and it came out. He's talking rubbish.
Talking goulash, you are.
I was thinking of another word, a bit more medical than that. Bioletti. Bioletti. And famously, John was always one, as a little kid, getting his hair cut there. And when he was getting his hair cut, he'd always tell the kids in front of him, queuing up, saying he cuts kids' ears, you know. He's got bad eyesight and he always hurts kids with his scissors. That'd stop you going, wouldn't it?
It would, yeah.
All these long-haired kids going around the street saying, I can't go in there. Because he's horrible.
That lad there says he cuts his people's ears off.
I think time to have a good guffaw and a gulp of some loopy
have a
juice.
Good cough. Yeah,
clear our throats
right.
and go through some vocal exercises right after we've had a jingle.
1, 2, 3.
The Beatleplaces Podcast with Mark and Col. Is there no beginning to their talent?
Is that the red light off now?
It is. It looks like it's off.
Right.
So we can carry on talking again.
1, 2, 3.
It's your turn. Hey, here's the thing. When you read all this random gear, you can't help it. You kind of process it over time. And you know the song Paul sang, "Flaming Pie," and John originally said it in a poem about the origins of the Beatles.
Aye.
I can't remember how the statement went.
A man came on a flaming pie.
That's it. Yeah.
And said, "You are Beatles with an A."
Well, that was all down to that was really there really was a flaming pie. It was a chicken pie, and it had mushrooms in it, and it's to do with the poet that came to visit them in their art student days, and it was just how it was. There was that Royston Ellis was the beatnik type poet. I'm not popping, I'm on Mark, you'll tell me for sure.
No, you're okay.
He was a beatnik poet, and he visited Liverpool, liked Liverpool, and he hung around with all the crowd from Liverpool College of Art. And I just read this the other week, and I thought, oh, well, that explains itself kind of neatly, really. There was a night when all the art students who knew Royston Ellis and enjoyed his poetry, including John, and there was people like Rod Murray there and Margaret Duxbury, who were all the art student friends of John, including Cynthia. And what was noticeable was Royston enjoyed their company and he stayed over and they kind of had beers and cups of tea and stuff. But also they cooked a meal, and it was only simple, but it was a pie, and it was a chicken and mushroom pie. And the trouble was, being who they were, forgetful, maybe drunk, the pie got burned, and that's your flaming pie.
Ah, well, blow me down.
So there really was a pie, there really was a John Lennon, there really was, like, you know, Royston
Chicken
Ellis.
pie on fire.
Chicken pie, yeah. Now you can go and tell all your friends.
Oh, I haven't got any.
Oh, well, I'll sort you out with that.
All right, let me tell you about another
Oh yeah, we've got to stick to the subject, haven't we?
Magical Mystery Tour. EP it was on originally was released on December the 8th, 1967, and serves the same purpose as the Sgt. Pepper title song, to introduce a Magical Mystery Tour project in a hip subsurface spoof on the cliches used by the Masters of Ceremonies. While one of the better songs from the eventual film and EP of the same name, this approach did not break any new ground for the Beatles, providing poor inspiration for what was to follow. The fantastical concept of the Magical Mystery Tour, like that of Sgt. Pepper, came to the creatively restless Paul on a long plane flight. Returning to London from a short stay in California, Paul was inspired by the legendary tales he had just heard of Ken Kesey's, author of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, travels in a bus around the west coast of USA, dispensing LSD to all that he met.
Naughty man.
While the lyrics suggest these surprise tours, the music, especially the dissonant jazzy ending, strongly hints at the druggy connotations of the mystery tour, all swirling music and all this, that and the other. Bringing only the germ of an idea to the studio, much of the lyrics were written on the spot with John's equal help. Recorded 4 days after the final overdub for Sgt. Pepper had been completed in '67, this retains much of the high-definition sound achieved on that album. So it was only a couple of days after.
Yeah, it's
Sgt.
quick,
Pepper
isn't
was
it?
done.
Yeah, really turn stuff over.
They did Magical Mystery Tour. I didn't realise it was so quick straight after. This retains much of the high-definition sound, as I said. In a trick first used on Lovely Rita, the masked vocals here were recorded slowly, then speeded up for the mix, creating a disembodied sound that contrasts the entrance of Paul's clear lead vocal recorded at normal speed. So they fiddled around with it, sort of carrying on from Magical Mystery, from Sgt. Pepper's, put it straight onto Magical Mystery Tour, which probably should have been on that album, shouldn't it, really?
Yeah, they said it was an overspill, but they had to sell singles, and there was a bit of pressure from George Martin and Brian Epstein around Crimbo time to say, you gotta release something.
You need something else.
Yeah, so they had to put Strawberry Fields and double A single out. I kind of don't miss it, but it's all enjoyable stuff, and I love the fact that they messed around with vocals and speeded things up and whatnot. I'll talk about that in another album's time.
Slow things down. And
if only we were slowed down.
Yeah, well,
medically speaking.
No, it'd go on for hours and hours and hours. We talk.
I picked up some M's. Thanks, Mark. That was interesting, wasn't it?
It was very interesting. Yeah.
Teachers, it's always a favourite with the people who listen to the show. Is like they're interested in their background, the Beatles' backgrounds. And I love looking at this sort of stuff because you can't help yourself. There are people who put information out about the school, the Liverpool Institute. Funnily enough, tomorrow, a Tuesday, Paul's in town. And he is doing his LIPA thing. He's at the Liverpool Institute of Performing Arts. And I know Mark told me that the graduations are all happening around Liverpool at this moment in time, up at the big cathedral there.
Oh, dear.
And it's a whole week of the same thing, really. Well done, 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 well done.
Clap,
well done, well done. Lunch! Well done, well done, well done. But Paul's in town, and in fact, I knew he was around because his Morris Minor was parked outside Travelodge the other night, and I could see him backing up, and he didn't bring much luggage. And his house now, I think he must have been let out on Airbnb or something like that, because he's just got a bunch of people enjoying the World Cup there at the moment. So it's been like that. No, Paul really is in town tomorrow. I think he'll be staying somewhere big and famous. He stayed in the Titanic Hotel once upon a time, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Yeah, he might do that again.
Who knows?
Which is kind of like, I'm not saying everybody get round there or go round to Paul's house, because, like I say, there's too many football fans still there choking up the outside.
You might be staying in Mrs. Johnson's B&B in
yeah.
New Brighton somewhere.
He always liked Mrs. Johnson.
Yes.
She does serve up nice scrambled eggs.
Lovely.
Getting back to the subject of letter M,
Yep.
I went off on one, didn't I? Sorry about that, everyone. School teachers, and I love looking into this because the Leobians, and I don't mean it's people who prefer other people. Leobians is the name for the old comrades, the old alumni of Liverpool Institute. And they put lots of information on their website. And of course, I'm there as often as possible getting you information for you. What I like is I get the names of the old teachers, who they taught, when they taught them, what they taught, and maybe even a nickname or two. And I picked 2 M's out, which you'll love. In Paul's school, George's school as well, sorry, I popped there, there was a teacher who taught maths at room 26. This is how much detail you get in this podcast. His name was Mr. Les Morgan, and he lived in Allerton, which isn't far from Paul's neck of the woods. He taught maths, like I said, and his nickname was Squinty. Also, he was often called Organ Morgan. Now, we're not going anywhere rude here. So, the thing about Mr. Morgan was he had an artificial eye, which he occasionally and allegedly took out and even sucked in class, as it was often dry with chalk dust. You can picture this. I could picture this.
No.
Paul and George were both taught by him and commented on Paul's school reports, he will never make a living playing the guitar. So, funnily enough, just to make it worse, Paul and George did keep in touch with Mr. Morgan after they became famous. God knows how. The other M in the school listings is an Archibald Moy, M-O-Y, and he lived in a posher part of Liverpool called Childwall, near John's area,
Yeah.
and he taught French, and that was in room number 8. And his nickname, Moy. Fungi. Now, how do you get fungi from that surname, Moy? I'm not sure.
No idea.
But apparently, he was there up until 1964, and he was an expert in pocket billiards.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well. Say no more.
And we can't say any more because it would be a little bit inappropriate. 2 teachers from Liverpool Institute, lesser M, for your delectation.
Talking of schools and education and stuff
ahead.
like that, Mosspits Lane Infant School in Mosspits Lane, Liverpool 15, is John's first school. Contrary to what is stated in many Beatles and Lennon books, this is not Dovedale Primary School. No, it was the very first school attended by John. He enrolled here on the 12th of November 1945. And the school's admission book shows his address as 9 Newcastle Road, and his parent guardian as his father, Alfred. John remained here for no longer than 6 months because since May 1946 he'd moved to Dovedale Road Infants near Penny Lane. So that's where he was originally.
Tonight, no less before an hour before you arrived tonight, with your donkey outside.
The chauffeur brought me, yes.
I was reading up about Mosspits School, and it was John's very first school, his infant school. He left the district, as it was reported in the school books, and leaving the district, it could be a euphemism for you-know-what, but I think he was kicked out for being a bit silly with annoying a girl, and the girl's name was Dolly Hipshaw. And that's more detail than we probably need for this podcast, but it's true. Dolly Hipshaw, and Dolly Hipshaw's mum was his babysitter. So it all comes around and goes around, doesn't it?
Everybody's linked to everybody else.
It seems so. So we could take it. We could take it to the nth degree, couldn't we? But I like all that school stuff, all that sort of.
You can link all sorts of things to everything else.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Thanks, Mark. That was interesting because schools are always going to be intriguing stuff. It develops you as a kid, or it makes you take an interest in something or other. So it's weird and wonderful.
And off you go and fail completely, mainly. Though sometimes it works out for the best.
Oh well, we always hope it does. We can always say it should.
Shall I bring a touch of class to the proceedings now?
Well,
a bit of art.
It would be a first.
The painter Magritte, that's begins with M, you see. That's where I got this from. Paul says, one lovely sunny day, we were all out in the garden when Robert arrived for a visit. That's Robert Stigwood, I think. He'd brought a picture by Magritte, which he knew I'd like, and so he just propped it up on the table and left. And when we came in, we saw the picture. It was a big green apple with au revoir written across it in Magritte's handwriting. It was a dead cool conceptual thing of Robert's to do. He knew I'd love it, and he knew I'd pay him later. We showed Magritte's apple to Gene Mahon, the ad guy, and he used it as a base for Apple,
Ah, well,
record label.
that Robert was Robert Fraser, who ran an art gallery.
Ah, that was it.
He was an old buddy mate, and he
I was
helped
trying to
Paul.
find who it was.
Yeah,
but,
Robert Stigwood. Yeah, he's in the mix, but it wasn't him, I don't
He's
think.
there somewhere. He's on the previous page, and I thought,
Well,
that must be who it was then.
You and me both went to the Magritte
We did.
Magritte art thing a couple of years back, didn't
Oh,
we?
more than that.
At the Tate.
Yeah.
Long time. I got a badge because it's very
I got a badge
Beatley.
as well.
As soon as you're there, you think, oh, it's all Beatles stuff, but it's his paintings to begin with.
Love Magritte, and I bought a book of his pictures.
Oh, well, you could buy a bag of apples and say the same thing, couldn't you? So, he's an interesting guy. And you can see that's a good piece of art. You can see why it had like universal appeal, because it's lovely. It looks great. Apple Music and Apple recordings and so forth, they had a whole pile of legal issues with Apple computers, because Apple used the Apple name, used an apple as its picture, and in the end it used Apple Music. So they had to fork out millions of dollars to keep the Beatles, as was, happy, because they sued the socks off them.
They pinched them.
He's an interesting guy. I was looking up, and in the end I got a history that no one's ever kind of looked into. Do you remember John went to our college, Liverpool Regional College of Art?
Aye.
And he was taught by several people who didn't kind of go for him. They kind of said, oh, he's a waste of space. Somebody said he was a fellow without brakes once. But one guy liked him, and he was a fellow called Arthur Ballard. Have I mentioned him before? I apologise.
Name rings a bell.
Arthur Ballard, he lived, he was born in Liverpool, 1915, and he was kind of a guy who understood John Lennon. He was probably one of the first people to do so as an artist, as a creative person. And he died in 1994, but he died in Denbighshire, which is North Wales. His mother and father were French polishers, so they would sort of, shine up a cabinet or three. They lived at a lovely place called 13 Cupid Street in Anfield, and it's not there no more, but what was interesting is, and I think there's a Beatle connection in the middle of it, is Arthur went and studied art as a young man. He couldn't have been 20 when he went to Paris, and he went to Paris for about a year, 2 years, and he studied art there. When he came back, he went to work at there was the war, and that kind of stopped him. But he took up boxing when he was in the war, so he's famously known as a boxer artist. He's kind of a ordinary fellow who became like an art teacher.
It's a bit of a mixture, I suppose.
It certainly seems like it. But
Just
anyway,
sit there while I paint your picture.
that's for blinking.
No.
So I think that's sort of where his potted history comes from in terms of, he used to box, but he probably just did it because he was a sport. But he ended up teaching art at the Liverpool College of Art. And this was the 50s by now. In 57 onwards, he'd just come back from another stint of being in Paris. So he must have influenced a young John Lennon as a student there, because John Lennon wasn't doing the art he was supposed to do. He wasn't doing the right coursework. He was delivering stuff. He was missing exams. But he was very good at doing sort of stupid cartoons like... I can't think of anybody off the top of my head who sort of Daily Express cartoonists like Thurber and people like that. And John's skill in art was doing sort of silly renditions of people, cartoons, we call them. And he was great at that, but he never put that forward as his artwork. He had to do proper art, and he never delivered. Arthur Ballard found a notebook of all his cartoons and said, "You're very good at this. We're going to keep you on." And he battled to keep John on for year 2, year 3, even in spite of him not being good at everything else. And the other thing was he was a bit of a drinker, Arthur, and he enjoyed teaching his art classes in the pub, the Crack.
Yeah.
And we've sat in those tables where they were taught for a pint or two, and they would drink something called Black Velvet, which is Guinness over. Is it mild? I can't remember. Guinness over something.
I don't know.
Maybe cider. I can't remember.
Guinness and champagne? Is it? I don't know.
They were students. I don't think so.
No, not champagne.
So in the end, Arthur went and lived in a place called Cleveley Road in Great Mells, which is over the water, as we say, in the Wirral. And he lasted his years out in there. There's a sign that I found out through this Arthur Ballard story, and that is that there's a sign outside the Crack. And it's a bit rude, but, it's worth a mention. And there's a sign that says, to the right of the pub is an alleyway, what we call a cooey, an alleyway. And it says on the sign, John Lennon peed here 47 times, 1959 to 1961. And I'm thinking, I've got to go back and photograph that. So I'll get round to that one time soon. But there we go, little story about Arthur Ballard, John's art teacher who thought of him.
Right. Okay, final little bit of places of M's. I think I can't dig any more out.
Well, we'll do a rundown in a minute.
McDonough Hall in West Kirby, in Banks Road, on the corner of Banks Road and Salisbury Avenue in West Kirby. The Beatles have been under the wing of Brian Epstein just for a week. Brand new manager, and he arranged for them to play at McDonough Hall. That was on the 1st of February 1962, and in Brian, in true showman style, has advertised it as the grand opening of the Beatle Club. In fact, it was the only time they played here, and after that, nothing more was heard of the Beatle Club. The gig took place in the hall used as a dance studio above a restaurant that is now Scoglamiglio's, or was.
It's a funny named restaurant.
Now something else, which in those days was the Thistle Cafe. And I can remember back in, it must have been when Procol Harum, Whiter Shade of Pale came out.
67.
Whichever year
67,
that was.
yeah.
I can remember going upstairs because a family friend of ours, the son or daughter, can't remember who, they got married and they had their wedding reception up there.
A bit of a do.
And I was only, 13 at the time. And I can remember hearing Whiter Shade of Pale by Procol Harum up there in the Beatle Club. So I've been there.
Well,
but it wasn't the Beatle Club. It was McDonough Hall.
We can both say we've stood here and moved this and gone here and done
I've
that.
had a cup of tea in the Thistle Cafe as well.
See, you're a star.
I'm a star now.
You're a star, yeah. And can I have your autograph before the show's over?
Later.
Okay.
One at a time, please.
That's what he says to all his friends. It's a mad stuff. Yeah, M's are interesting, but we talked before about the way Magical Mystery Tour was sort of produced and recorded and all the fancy doings that went into it. I happened to look at the sort of post-Beatles output of all the weird records we had when the Beatles long finished. We're into the 90s now, and there was still stuff coming out. Do you remember the Love album? Mm-hmm. It was all right.
I love that album.
Yeah, it's a good album because it's a mixture of that kind of stuff. Giles Martin's in charge of it, and the clever thing he did was he didn't sort of add anything. He kind of just moved stuff around in terms of musical bits and pieces, drum bits here and guitar bits there.
Bits from every song.
So it's a lovely record to listen to because it's a complete thing. You got to listen to the whole shooting match. And I think it was part of the Cirque du Soleil fellas.
It was indeed.
They got involved in it. But I was going to ask you how many individual recordings were used. So I couldn't tell you how many tracks. I'm looking at the listing here, and it looks to me like there's songs like Because and Get Back and Julia, and we've got Drive My Car, Mr. Kite's on it, and Octopus's Garden.
Sound effects as well, birds singing.
But again, all via what the Beatles produced themselves. Nothing's added.
They might not have used it properly on an album that you can hear it, but if it's been hidden away on
deep down in the mix,
in the mix somewhere, and these Giles has dug it out and put it to the forefront.
Well, maybe there must be. I'm looking at 20, 30 songs to speak of, and they're not. We never get the whole song. We just go into another song,
in and out.
And that's what's interesting about the concept of it. And guess how many tracks were used in terms of sample?
I would say 87.
Blimey. Have you read this?
No.
No, you're wrong. 130 individual recordings used. So I was impressed by that. But apart from nearly dropping this in the bath when I read that.
I can see it's all curly around the edges.
It's just something about me. Oh, you're talking about me cheese sarnie? All right, I'll put that away. There's a thing I'm going to revisit, the Yellow Submarine song track. So it's not the recording that came out in 67. It's a CD type level recording of the Yellow Submarine as the tracks were lifted or took out of the movie.
The soundtrack.
And the review I've read in this book by Chris Ingham, he says, it's well worth another listen because the mix is fantastic. Every song gets a proper bit of stereo, or it gets proper, there's a proper like sound to it.
Yeah.
And it's the only one where I've ever seen George say it's pretty good. George has commented on, I've heard this, it sounds good, because of course his song on there is It's All Too Much. And he ranted and raved about this particular thing. So it was the Yellow Submarine song track, which came out round about 1998, 99 time, just before the One CD came out. So that was an interesting one. I thought, I must give that a go.
Yeah, I'll have to do that. I've got it at home. I'll have to
have you now?
Dig it out.
Because you get some good stuff, and it sounds great to hear these bits and pieces which have just been neglected, buried deep in the mix of tunes.
If you get a good set of headphones on, or earphones, whatever, good quality stuff, you can hear all sorts of stuff that you didn't know was there before. Even from all those years ago, the recording was excellent.
We'd play them on here, but we'd get done for copyright.
No, we can't do that, unfortunately.
Copyright.
I'd love to put a record on,
You're listening to the Beatleplaces Podcast with Mark and Mr. Col. It's time for one of those thingy-majigs.
You want the best. You expect the best. You deserve the best. So while you're waiting, here's the Beatleplaces Podcast with Mark and Col. Oh, one of those.
Yeah, what did you think?
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Who was that, by the way?
It was the Mike Sam Singers.
Oh, was
but they all had the clothes off.
Just one of them.
Mike.
Sam.
Mike.
It was Sam.
Yeah, Mike. Sam's day. Sam works Mondays.
That does it.
Welcome everyone. You're listening to Col and Mark and Col, Col and Mark and Col, doing a podcast, loving the Beatles and playing all talking about their stuff. And we always dedicate it in terms of Beatles with an A as the theme of our series, where we bring up a topic under the letter, whatever it might be. We're up to M already. And we're ready to tell you more about Beatles stuff with M's. If Mark's prepared, he can have a go himself.
Well, this has got nothing to do with M's, I'm afraid.
I don't mind.
Lyrics with an M.
Yeah, all right.
But not really. Where's this track from? All right, it's part of the music. Then music, we'll call that. That's where the M comes in.
Well, you win with your pedantry.
Yeah, very pedant. That's me. Right, don't talk to me like that. Right, here we go. Where's this song from? I don't need to hug or hold you tight. I just want to dance with you all night. Which song is that from? I don't need to hug or hold you tight. I just want to dance with you all night.
Is it a George song?
Hey, could be. Yes, it is.
I'm so happy just to dance with you.
Excellent. Well done. I'm happy just to dance with
you. It's kind of you could say to yourself the rhyme for the word night. It'll be tight, or it'll be flight, or it'll be whatever.
I don't need to hug or hold you tight.
Yeah.
I just want to dance with you all night.
Yeah.
Sort of like that, yes.
Yeah, like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
terribly fun.
Yeah, before they got fancy.
Yes. I'm just happy to dance.
With their MBEs.
I'm just happy just to dance with you.
Wait, that reminds me, I've got some visitors next month. Is it August next month? Yeah.
The white coats again.
No. Your medication's due. No, some Americans are coming over to be taken around by yours truly. Mark might get involved, he might up to him. But a lady I knew last time I saw, Nancy, and her friend Anne came over, and I took them around lots of bits of Liverpool, and I thought, well, I must make a better effort of it this time around. So which is why I've done a podcast, which gives everybody, you included, listening here tonight, a walking tour of Liverpool, all on your own if you want one. As well as that, I did the future podcast I'm going to do would include the Irish and the Isle of Man connections with the Beatles, and the Scottish thing I mentioned before. So, but the Beatles tour one, that's a biggie. That'll be a big one to get over. It'll be hard to describe the streets because it's like I know where to go, and I'll have to say to you now, right, stop at the end of the road, watch out for traffic. When the green man says, cross if it's safe to clear, like that. And tell them how to avoid other things as well.
Look right first if you're crossing the road.
Oh,
in
it's
this country as well.
Yeah, it's
Look
Britain,
right,
yeah.
not left because you're not in America. Look right when you're crossing the road because that's the bit where the car comes from the right-hand side.
Well, I was...
In case you're wondering what goes on over here.
These things, you're thinking, it's a lot of talking. I don't mind having a chat with Mark, doing a podcast like this because we're having a banter. But a podcast like a guided tour is awkward because it's a lot of information from one voice, and it could be even a bit tiring and boring to listen to. So I thought I'll look into this AI way of doing it by cloning your voice. So just last week before, I was looking up how to clone my voice, which is take a sample of what I'm saying on a recording and put it through a computer and then give it all the text of a thing like a podcast and tell it to do a whole podcast on it. But the trouble is it doesn't get my accent very well. And it talks like, so if I say you've arrived at Lime Street and now you're going to look at Renshaw Street where Merseybeat was, and the AI version of my cloned voice would go, you've arrived at Lime Street, Renshaw Street is around the corner. Now what you got to do now is far too fast, it's far too odd sounding, so I'll stick to me.
Maybe you should do a thing like now press the pause button and walk up the road, and then when you get to the top of the road, release the pause button and off you go again. You are now at the top of the road.
Well, I've just figured out an even simpler one. Welcome to the Beatleplaces Guide to Liverpool. Buy a map.
Yeah.
That'll shave a few.
100 quid each.
Get a taxi.
Yeah.
Maybe might work, might not.
Never know. You never know.
Yeah, well, I mean, when the Beatles festival's on, it's usually at the end of August time when there's a bank holiday. Me and Mark have gone through a few of them, but it's always a bit manic. And if the weather's nice, it's so hard because the city becomes pedestrianised, if you see what I'm saying, with people everywhere looking at Beatles stuff, and there's Beatle music playing out of every orifice. And it's overbearing for some, but it's lovely for others. So when these Americans arrive, I'll have to show them some nice things. Take him up to Paul's place where he gets his bed and breakfast from, and take him beyond there. So
yeah, Mrs. Johnson.
Mrs. Johnson's scrambled egg lady.
Lovely.
Anyway. Picked up some news there the other day. I was just reading a facts of this day in Beatle history. We're close to it. On the 22nd of August, 1962, 2 days anniversary away, the cavern was used for the Beatles to be recorded.
August, did you say?
August.
It was in July.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. I better check my watch.
4 weeks away.
Yeah. So I mentioned August, and maybe I just lost track of time. So 4 weeks from now is the anniversary of, by 46 years or something like that. Anyway.
Never good at maths, were you?
No. That's why I'm so poorly paid. 1962 it was, August 22nd it was as well. The Beatles were filmed by Granada TV in the cavern singing some songs. They sang Some Other Guy and Kansas City and so on. And here's the weird thing. It wasn't the first time. The Beatles never got on telly straight after it. It was kept on the shelf. When the Beatles performed in the studio in a show called People and Places, that's when they appeared live and they sang Love Me Do, I think it was. So they were on telly in a television studio before this film came out. This was put away because there was a complication with the film that they made was in conjunction with some other people who were featured in the show. And it was a brass band from Yorkshire. And the trouble was there was some kind of royalty musicians union issue with the brass band. And there was a payment problem and so on and so forth. So this thing just went into hiatus. It just went away. And it was not used until the Beatles were fabulously famous and then they went and sort of used it again. The trouble with the recording, the film things you see on YouTube and various other places, was they looked great playing in the cavern, but the recording was a bit rubbish. So what happened was Granada TV sent along a fella to record them singing again. 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, said sound quality wasn't so hot. We'll just come along with a recording device and record you. And the guy who recorded was a fella called Gerald Butler. And Gerald Butler worked for Granada TV as a sound recordist. And I looked into the fact that maybe, because Gerald had to record a whole Beatles show at the time. Now, at the time, in 1962, the Beatles would play a lunchtime show and it lasted about an hour and a half. They used to play a 2-hour show of a lunchtime. Imagine that every day. And so he recorded a whole show, and they would have done pretty much a note-for-note, word-for-word version of those songs they were filmed singing, and all he had to do was match them up, and that's what you get when you see them on YouTube, and you see them now. It's the film from August 22nd, and it's the recording from September to blah-de-blah, whatever it was.
Yeah.
So I looked into this. Gordon Butler, his name was. Sorry, not Gerald. Gordon Butler. He existed, and I'm thinking we ought to go to his house because he's bound to have a recording in his loft somewhere, deep down under a tea chest, of the Beatles singing in the cavern. Because the Granada TV got rid of everything. It, being as wise as they were, they got rid of all that stuff.
Know, did they?
No, and
anyway.
who was to know? Who was to know? Interesting fact about Gordon Butler, sound recordist, Granada TV.
Oh. Right. And breathe.
Yes.
Are we winding up now?
Yeah, why not?
Yes.
We've talked enough and we've babbled enough. We've done some quizzes and we're halfway there.
And it's nearly tomorrow now anyway.
August the 22nd.
Christmas soon.
Next time we do a podcast, folks, we're going to pre-announce this now. We're going to do a Lesser M again. It'll be a Paul McCartney one. It'll be a special. And we're going to do Paul McCartney things all the way through. So we won't miss a trick when we talk about Paul's records and his music and his life and his things and his school and his haircuts and you name it. We'll have a good old talk about it when we're here again.
We'll dig things out from the very depths of...
we're good at depths.
As depths go,
Yeah.
really.
Or we could do widths.
Widths, yeah.
Yeah.
Lengths.
So winding up, we usually wind up this way, which is I'll do a list of all the M things Beatles are good at.
Right. Off you go.
Songs. Can you name a bunch of M songs? And there's a few obscuries, but I'll give you marks out of 10 for effort.
Me and Mr. Mustard.
Okay.
Misery.
Yeah.
Martha, My Dear.
Yeah.
Magical Mystery Tour.
Yeah. Mother Nature's Son.
Oh, aye.
My Bonnie, very early one. Mr. Moonlight, Michelle, you mentioned. And Mailman, Bring Me No More Blues. Buddy
one,
Holly song. Yeah.
Yeah.
Old Buddy. That kind of came out sideways because it was kind of a warm-up song they sang that went on to an anthology version. So a bit of a cheat. And of course they sang Matchbox, and it sounds great.
I like Matchbox.
Yeah, nice and lively. In terms of people with M's in them, there was Jim McCartney, Mike McCartney. We've talked about them plenty of times. Albert Marion, he was the photographer who lived up in Wallasey Village. At his studios, we're familiar with that place. It's now a pizza place. It's where the young Savage Beatles were filmed. No, photographed is the better word. There was Ray McFall, who owned the cavern. Sadly, he didn't manage it too well. Ian McMillan, who's he?
I've forgotten.
He photographed the Beatles crossing Abbey Road.
Oh, that was it.
Yeah, he was I think it was the fifth picture was the best one, and that ended up on the album cover.
Paul picked the best picture, I think.
Yeah, the one
if
with
I remember, I said that last time.
That's right. He had a plate of scrambled egg. He was walking across the zebra crossing at the time. Roger McGuff was a poet and a friend. He hung around with Mike McCartney mostly in the scaffold, but he helped do some of the sort of Scouse scripting to Yellow Submarine. He helped put in some Liverpool references in.
Yep.
The Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. He, of course, who is he? Of course, he was the the transcendental meditation guy who they all sort of hung around in the 1967 time. You mentioned a good one last time, which was Alex Madras, the Magic Alex. That was a good one you did of him last time. Good old George Martin, who was sadly missed. I'd like to have seen more stuff of his, but of course, what I like about George Martin is he did tons of comedy records, which certainly gave him a lot of scope in terms of playing with music and sound effects and blah blah, which helped the Beatles along, I would say, a lot. There was Dougie Millins. Heard of Dougie Millins, Mark?
I haven't, no.
He was the guy who did the Beatles suits.
Ah.
The Beatles suits. I read today that his son has carried on the tailoring business. He appears in A Hard Day's Night as well. He plays a tailor in A Hard Day's Night. He measures up the lads in the hotel.
I know him, yeah.
And Dougie Millings, a London-based fella, his son carried on running the business. And if you still want a Beatles suit, he'll make you one. He'll make you one.
I'm on my way now.
No,
though.
not now. No. Just stay with us. There was Tommy Moore, who was famously one of the several drummers that the Beatles had. He wasn't a success. He sort of gave up the ghost after he did a tour of Scotland with them, and he lost a couple of teeth. And he went back to working in the bottle works in Garston. Went back there. Aunt Mimi is famously known because he was John's auntie, proper auntie. And she was kind of like a matriarchal type of person. And last M in the people bit, Rod Murray, who was a good old friend of John's from our college times. And he nearly made a bass guitar to be in a band at the time. So you never do know what could have happened, should have happened. Other places that you didn't mention, we had Madryn Street, where Ringo came from, Mackett's Lane we mentioned, the Majestic Ballroom in Birkenhead.
Oh, aye.
Massey and Coggins. Massey and Coggins was a business that made coil wines. Just a little industry, a little sort of smallish industry, based up Wavertree way, I think. Paul worked there for a little while. Proper job, his dad called it. And in the end, Paul was thinking, it's not too bad. I could get used to this. I could get into management. And he was nearly convinced he should stay. And then John Lennon said, well, you're either not or you are. Jump the wall and get out of there and join the band, or just stay where you are. And he jumped the wall. Most famous M of all, Men Love Avenue, 251, where me and Mark have been. I might end up going again this year to see the place. But what do you remember about Men Love Avenue, Mark?
Going upstairs, the little bedroom, John's bedroom.
Yeah. Well, he had lodgers too.
The kitchen, I remember as well.
Yeah, his mum and Aunt Mimi and Uncle George slept in the kitchen, I think, and the lodgers had the bedrooms. So it was always a little bit confusing, that. So there's a bunch of M's about a bunch of people who knew or got involved in the Beatles.
Wonderful. That's a
makes you think.
That's an M.
Well, we could all night, couldn't we? But I still think my Get a Map idea is still a good one. But I think
Buy a map.
Buy a map.
Yeah.
Or just ask a policeman. Ask a policeman.
What a good idea. Yeah.
So we've wrapped up the show, I think. Thanks very much for giving us a listen and tuning in.
Go and have a lie down on a tablet now. You'll be okay, ready for the next time we come back.
Oh, you've definitely deserved it now.
With another edition of
Uncle Herbert's. No, that's another show we used to do. Yeah. The Beatleplaces Podcast.
With Mark
and
Col. Wonderful.
See you soon.
Right.
Take lots of care, but keep in touch.
That's got it done then.
I think so, yeah.
Right.
I'm all worn out. My eyebrows are all knotted up.
I can see, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me get a comb.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll just comb those eyebrows. Oh, is that better?
Pleasant thoughts.
Good night.
Thanks for listening to the Beatleplaces Podcast with Mark and Col. We hope to see you again real soon, and don't forget to visit the gift shop on the way out.